Grandest of rising to everyone. Do I have any tea? No, I don't have that kind of tea. All right, we're gonna do a different kind of tea today because it is just a different kind of day today. I'm out of tea. I'm out of tea, and so I dug up some old tea that it's not that I don't like this tea. It's just that I really love pu'er a lot. And so this tea we've got oolong today. You guys want to smell that? Yeah, it smells good, doesn't it? It smells real good. And we're just going to pile it on there. I've had this tea for probably over a year and haven't touched it. But even though we're in the jungle, this tea is super duper dry. So, it's holds pretty well. Definitely better when it's more fresh, but sometimes teas, they'll age teas for a long time and it just makes the flavor even better. But we're not really here to talk about tea. That's just something that I do on this show. We're here to talk about human design. So if you know what your human design is, amazing. If you don't know what your human design is, please go to my website right now, plug in your information, figure out what your human design is, and then come back here. Now, I do have reports for sale on my website, and it's quite literally a sale. My advanced report, they call it the Reiki report. It's normally $35. Today, it is only going to be it's $20 for today only. So if you want to get a $35 report for $20, today is the day. It's Black Friday, right? So anyway, let's heat up some water and let's get to asking questions. So if you guys have any questions about your human design, or you're curious, or you want to know something, feel free to leave it in the chat. This is kind of the time for me to answer questions like that. And just, again, like share the gospel of human design. It's not a gospel, but share the good word of human design, because the reality is, like, so many people know about human design. And a lot of people know a lot about human design, but very few people are actually putting it into practical application outside of kind of like small little hacks and little tips and tricks. Whereas human design can be used literally quite like a map and a compass to help guide you towards whatever life you want. Human design is like the absolute best map and compass, in my opinion, that I have found to guide you towards whatever it is that you want. Whether you want a beautiful career, you want a beautiful partnership, you want a beautiful family, you want to travel and you don't want any of that kind of stuff, you want to travel and you want all of that, human design is going to show you how exactly to go about doing that. Say, they come down from the roof? Do you think that's true? Dr. Nima Projector on TikTok said that most 6 lines never find their soulmate until they come off. I think so, because the thing about a soulmate is that when we're talking about soulmate and not like twin flames and that kind of energy, what we're talking about is like a perfect match for your soul. And one of the reasons why 6 lines probably never meet their soulmate until after they come off the roof is quite simply because their soul is not expressed in their body until they've come off the roof. Right? Like for a 6 line, you spend 30 years being a martyr, making a bunch of mistakes, living basically out your not self. Then you spend a decade or two on the roof, more withdrawn from life, to the point where it's like you're really just giving yourself time to like reflect on your decisions, because when you come off the roof after that 2 or 3 decades or 1 or 2 decades, right? This is you're about either between 40 and 50, sometimes 60, depending. It's a little different for everyone, but generally, when you come off the roof, that is because essentially a lot of your not self-conditioning and the manipulations that you impose against yourself have been remedied, that they've been transmuted, that you're able to actually manifest your signature. And that's when you manifest your soulmate, is when you're actually manifesting your signature. Because people are missing a step when it comes to a law of attraction manifestation. They're going exactly to focusing on what they can get, as opposed to what do I need to become in order to get what I want. And this is something that you see it a lot in New Age culture. People do affirmations without doing any kind of auditing on their behaviors or their habits. They'll buy a bunch of crystals without changing what they do during their day. You know, crystals are fine, but if they don't change your daily choices and lifestyles, they're just rocks. Yes, they have a vibration. Yes, they can impact you, but you can also resist that vibration the same way that if someone is trying to help you, you can resist their help. And there's actually really a messed up story about like help, and it's in the context of God, but I'll tell it anyway. So there's a flood coming to this town, and the town sends an evacuation notice outside. Everyone that's living here, get out because there's a flood coming and it's going to destroy us. So a family that has a strong belief in God stays and said, no, 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 our God will save us. And so, okay, they ignore the first warning. Second warning comes, there's buses trying to shuttle people out of the town. They say a flood is coming. You got to get out. The people again a second time say, nope, we're good. God has got us. Now the flood is up and it has the family on the roof. There's a helicopter that flies over, drops a ladder down, says, hey guys, climb up the ladder. We'll save you. So and then they're like, no, 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 we're good. God has got us. So this family dies in the flood, and they're up and they say, God, you did not save us. And God goes, I gave you a warning to leave. I gave you a bus. I gave you a helicopter. What more do you want? And I love this story because it's so like that's life. Right? People are looking for something outside of themselves to save themselves. The Muslims or the the Muslims have a saying that goes, trust Allah, but tie up your camel. So anyway, Gina, no, there's not a code for the 40% off. You just go to my website, generate your body graph, and you'll see 2 reports. They're going to be the same price. Go for the Reiki report. Okay, the Reiki report is the 40% off one. But yeah, I figured, I was like, screw it. Let's sell some discounted reports for Black Friday. I'm not really one for the whole consumerist sale thing, but also it's like, you know, this Black Friday could be the one that changes your life. So yeah, you're welcome. And it's 40%, 42 point something percent off. Normally it's $35, but today it's only $20. And that's because I'm like, you know, there's so many people that are buying things that they don't need, like TVs and gaming systems and makeup and tech gear. Like there's so many people currently right now, because it's Black Friday, that are spending money on stuff that they don't need because they're trying to enhance who they are without first accepting or knowing what they are. And this is something that is really important to note, is that our economy is entirely built off not self behavior and leveraging not self energy. What I mean by that is any area that you feel like you need to prove yourself, or that you don't know what's good for you, or you don't know who you are, or you want attention, or you want people to think you're certain, or you want to solve other people's problems, or you want like a stress-free life. Yeah. Hey, that's all not self behavior. Frustration, anger, bitterness, and disappointment. Any of those feelings, those are pointing to not self behaviors. And what the economy does, it's brilliant, but it's also like very messed up. And it shows exactly how far away from our alignment with ourselves we are as a society, is because our entire economy is based on buy this car so that people will validate you, buy this makeup so that people will desire you, buy this, buy that, so that rather than instead of actually giving people something that will allow them to educate themselves. And the true meaning of the word education is not what you think. It's not learning a bunch of stuff. Education, educo, is a Latin word that means to lead out from within or to draw out. And so education is not about learning a bunch of stuff. It's about manifesting your signature, literally what human design shows us. And so for this Black Friday, I decided to participate and give you guys a break off my already, I think, very affordable reports. So if you don't have a report from me yet, or maybe you have one and you want to get one for your friend, now's the time, because it's 40% off. Riley, what's up, baby? We're drinking oolong tea today, guys. Different than my usual. It's so funny when TikTok tells me like, oh, your comments have been filtered, because what kind of comments are you guys leaving? Is what I'm curious about. Oolong is good. Can't steep it too long though. Don't steep the oolong too long. Sick. I wish I was in USD raw. I'm gonna get one though. Yeah. Get one, get one, get a report. Get a report for your friends too, or not, or wait for them to just be like, man, why is your life so awesome? You'd be like, well, I got this report on Black Friday last year, and he also said New Year's wasn't December 31st, but actually January 21st. Remind me what's in the report, Marco. Riley, I would love to. So the report starts off with an analysis of your body graph. So the body graph is going to show you like your energetic blueprint. It's also going to show you like the generating force that creates your aura. The aura, you guys are probably seeing it all around, but it's like cool factor and energy. But yes, it's all that, but it's a byproduct of the circuitry in your body, the electromagnetic circuitry and the genetic expression of your body. So the report starts off by analyzing every little detail of that. Talks about your channels, your gates, your centers. It talks about some more advanced things like the variables, which are the arrows by the head of your body graph that no one talks about because they don't understand it. Then it goes into what some custom pieces where I took basically the entire book of human design and I condensed it down into like 40 pages, you know. And not only did I do that, but I also sequenced it in a way where it's like you can learn about human design and not have to read, 1,000 books about it or listen to 200 hours of lectures. But I put it down into 40 pages, and then I show you how I apply human design to my life. Very methodical, very like, stacking compound interest kind of things. Then after that, there's a list of techniques, how to meditate, how to set goals, how to make sacred calibrations, simple things to help you guys basically embody this information so that you're not all just up in your head. So that whole report is normally $35. It really should be like $70 or $80. I've seen people charge $200 for reports that literally do the same thing as my $20 reports. In my biased opinion, I think my $20 reports are better, but this report is normally $35 and it's on sale today for $20. So you have to go to my website, generate your body graph first, and then after you generate the body graph, you'll see an option below to buy the report. When you were talking about 6 lines, spend a long time living out their not self. Is that by design? So everyone is going to live out their not self. The amount of time that it takes for you to wake up to the not self, because the not self is really just the part of you that's in resistance to what is, right? The part of you that is in resistance towards your way of handling stress or your way of moving through emotions. Pandora, I'm a 3-5 reflector on the cross of rulership. Thank you very much. And yeah, and it's not to say that six lines spend a long time living in their not self. It's more so that for a 6 line and to become a true role model, like you have to have gone through you have to have some seasoning, right? Like a child can be a role model, but only to a child. Everyone grows out of being a child. And so for a role model to be an actual role model, they have to get to a stage where it's like this is the more advanced stage. And a lot of the times as well, people, 6 lines especially, a lot of the times they don't even really discover human design until they're kind of at the end of their first 30 years of life, or they're already in their point of reflection. I talk to a lot of 6 lines that are learning human design specifically at the end of their 30s. Now, it's not to say that it's like, again, you can't live out your signature. There is something called an unconscious competent, which is really cool. You might be this if you're in my live right now and you're like, yeah, human design is cool, but like my life is already awesome. You're probably an unconscious competent. And let me explain what that means. An unconscious competent is somebody that is competent, but they're unconscious of why. In human design language, that means they live out their design perfectly. They use their strategy, they know how to consult their authority, but they don't know human design. They're just following their internal guidance. And this is where human design really doesn't have a whole lot to offer these people aside from a way to have a similar language or an understanding. Because again, it's like, would you rather know everything about human design and not be living your design, or live your design and know nothing about human design? I know which one I'd pick, because for me, knowledge is power, but too much knowledge without application is delusion. So yeah, I'm almost 36 and I found HD a few months ago. Right. So, again, this is that time for you then to really like, this is the time to apply it. A lot of what human design really helps us to combat is this desire to be liked by everyone, right? Oh, I would get a chart from Marco to figure that out. Finn, by asking, what do you mean if I don't mind me asking? Let me. Human design stresses to follow your strategy and authority. Yeah, so each type is going to have its own strategy and authority. Thank you, smiley face. Pandora, easy. That's right. So the strategy helps you to make decisions using your own energy blueprint and not somebody else's, because a lot of times people are using other people's blueprints to make their decisions. Let me scrub this real quick. Kind of blurry, getting smoky in here, or sweaty in here. And then your authority is going to help you like know what internal thing to focus on when you make your decision. I see Finn says, I do have one. I'm just not very knowledgeable of what it implies or stands for. I'm splenic. Yeah. So splenic authority is like, listen to your intuition. Listen to when your ears start ringing and when your head starts getting foggy or your throat starts closing in, it starts getting hard to talk. Spleen is very physical. It's very survival based. And so a lot of the times what the way spleen will speak to you, and it's like the opposite of the solar plexus and the emotions, and it's quite literally on the opposite side of the body graph. Splenic authority is all about instant knowing. It's all about smelling something and being like, oh, this is poisonous, or getting, walking a path and getting like a shiver up your spine and being like, there's people that are going to ambush us and take all of our stuff. So the spleen is very much so about survival, and it uses fear as a fuel to alert you to danger to ensure survival. All of the awareness centers do this. The mind uses anxiety to alert you to certainty, make you aware of certainty, things that are happening in the physical world, like reality, and it will and then it creates a sense of how you say observation of like your environment. The mind is very interesting because it's tuned to let you know what's going on in the outside world, but a lot of people use the mind to psychoanalyze themselves, and it's terrible. Oh man, did I break the server? I might have broken the server. Just bought mine, flow bug. And let me go see this. I had a feeling this was going to happen. I should have warned the dev. We're both 3.5s, so this is really funny. That's okay. This is what it's see, so for me, not self-activity would be like, oh no, like it's blah blah blah. Yeah, we had a couple fail. So here's the deal, guys. We are oh dang, you guys have been buying. Okay, great. So I have yeah, I'm gonna have to like generate your guys' reports manually, but I can do that. That's not a problem. Um I had a feeling this was gonna happen. So sometimes, because this is a this is not some like big company that's doing this. Me and Alexander and Prana as well. And let's see, I'm gonna make a new folder. So sometimes technical stuff like this happens. This is so funny. But not self behavior on my part would look like me being like, oh no, this isn't supposed to. I expect mistakes and failures and stuff like that to happen. Good, we caught that now. Yeah, I'll have to do it manually. So I'm wondering if like should I not be on sale right now? Let's see. There were so far there were 3 that failed. There were a handful of other ones that went through, but so Gina, let's see. I got you. So Pandora, it's the Reiki report. It's the Reiki report. Yeah. They're both $20 right now. But the Reiki report is the one that you want. Yeah. And thank you guys for for cashing in on this deal. Because again, it's like, you know, and I know like the difference between $35 and $20 is not really that much, but like saving that extra $15, especially like when all you got in your bank account is like, you know, $80 or whatever it is, it makes a difference. And so, you know, again, I like to keep my my offerings pretty accessible financially, because when I was learning about Reiki and learning about human design, everything was so inaccessible. It was like to work with someone was like $3,000, or to get a report was like $300, $400. I'm like, why is it so expensive? Like, I could just go Google this online. And then I did, and I realized like, oh, there's a lot of dumb information online about this. I'm like, I'm just gonna learn it myself. So I bought the book, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot to learn here. Great. So okay, let's see. Yeah, for anyone that does get a report and it doesn't load up for them, or there's a failed something goes wrong, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to be paying attention to this here. Oh, sweet. Just found a shortcut. I got you guys. I got you guys. Feels like I'm doing those like speed runs on like, you know how they do video games and they just do speed runs, but it's for human design reports. Arcturian healing, hello, all is super well. Pandora, yes, I got you, sis. I think that I broke the server again. That happens sometimes when I do crazy stuff like this. I just end up breaking the server. But you guys check your emails. Whatever email you put in there, that's the email that I'm going to send it to. So, yeah, I see you, Lauren. I see you. Sorry, I've said your name online. Hope that's okay. Yeah, and you know, again, this is third line activity. I'm a 3-5. I have made peace with the fact that I'm gonna do stuff like this, and it's gonna mess things up for me. And that there's nothing wrong with me inherently. That this is just how I do things. Oh, it actually is. It does. It is Laura. My eyes are not so good. I'm still fixing my eyes, guys. Oh wow, that oolong is getting good. Interesting thing that I learned about tea is that tea you can't really consider how good a tea is until it's like very watered down, because that's when you can taste the subtleties because it's so close to water. Pandora, what? Wait, what? What are we waiting for? All right, Gina, you got yours. Great. Flowbug, Laura. I sent it to Laura. You got the email. Bless. All right, sweet. Thank you guys for being patient. Normally this system works really, really well. But every now and then the server will die on me. So, oh, you're Lauren. Got you. Okay, got you. Yeah, I got you. Let's see. Ah, okay, there we go. There was a Laura and a Lauren, so I was a little confused for a second, but I'm pretty sure I got all of you. I got to text our dev. I knew this was gonna happen. I was like, should I tell him? Nah, I'm just gonna send it. And here I am. But this is kind of fun. All right, let's see. Lauren, I got you. Kenneth, I got you too, my friend. It's probably an error on our delivery end. I'm having to do that a lot right now. So hang tight, my friend. I'll get you your report. I do have all the information, so that does make it a lot easier for me. But I'll let you know if I got yours. Lauren. Great. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Kenneth. Got you, man. Brum, bum, 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 brum, bum, 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 bum. This is kind of fun doing like delivery on demand. Let's see. Marco got Lauren's chart, not mine, sent to my email. Sorry, Gina. It's just like scrambling over here. Kenneth. I got you, Gina. I'll get you yours. Make sure you get your actual right report because there's a chance that I might mess it up. Normally, the system works really well, but sometimes it does not. Okay, Gina, here we go. Or Giamma. So we actually created, and I didn't create anything. I just told the developer what I wanted, and he made it. And he was actually working on this project before, but I was using a reporting service that was I just didn't like the way it was set up, and he offered to build one out for me. And so this is our system, but again, everything is how you say at a smaller scale, and we've been growing. Can I have Gina's? Yeah, Mercury retrograde, big time, right? Big time. So yeah, anyone that buys a report that it says error or anything, don't trip. I got you. I just did a little batch right now. So Kenneth, you were the last one to get in. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reports that failed. In the true third line nature, I'm happy about this because this is, again, this is part of accepting your circuitry. Is like certain things are going to happen to you if you have a certain profile, and if you are willing to just experiment and be like, oh, this is a natural function. Like for instance, if you have a defined ajna and you have a lot of anxiety, personally, you know, as long as your anxiety is actually about your environment and your world and not a bunch of other people. Wait a second, what's going on here? Oh, that is super weird. All right, guys, make sure you check your reports. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it must be some of you guys. Will the sale be till Cyber Monday? If it keeps going like this, definitely not. Okay, Gina, I got yours. I just checked. Well, what is that I sent you? Sorry, dude. Yeah, I don't know. We're probably not gonna do this through. I might even just only do this flash sale on the live. Okay, let's see. All right, Gina, let me know. Let me know if I'm pretty confident in this one. Kenneth, I just got the HD report and just got the Reiki, but is this the same? So the Reiki report is different. They start the same, but the Reiki report has how many? Probably like 50 or 60 extra pages, right? So, yeah. Me and Gina's email twice were in. You guys are funny. You guys are funny. Yeah, so aside from that, all that, what else is going on, guys? Thanksgiving was yesterday, which I know is like a really touchy subject for people. especially for me, because I have so many like indigenous friends and cultural practitioner friends that get very charged about it. I grew up loving Thanksgiving though. You got it, Gina? Great. Thanks for being patient with me, guys. Appreciate you. Now, though, you and Flowbug are wonderful friends. Did you guys actually know each other before this, or is this just one of those happy accidents? Let's see if anyone else bought a report and it failed. Okay, good. So far. No, we just vibe. Feel free to check my chart out and send me your blessings, girl. Thanks for being cool about that. I can't I not that I think it's silly or it's dumb to be upset about your information, specifically like your star charts or your like I remember one time, total crazy instance, like some girl text me and thought I was some guy that SA'd her because I guess she had his number, and she texted me these like really weird, like long messages, like basically it was really like Stockholm syndrome. It was like, I really loved you and blah 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 blah, and maybe we should meet up again. And I was like, girl, I'm not who you think I am. I don't even know you. And then I was like, oh, but it sounds like you could really use some direction in life. Can I send you something? I just need your birthday. And she's like, no, I'm not comfortable sharing that because, certain people can like do voodoo with it. And I'm like, you don't need voodoo to mess your life up. You're gonna do that on your own. You need some direction. I didn't push her, but eventually later she came out and was like, so can I have that report? And I was like, yeah, sure. But it was funny because, and I'm not saying that people can't use your birth time and birth information and your charts and everything to like mess with you. It's just like, who are you interacting with? It's who are you interacting with that's capable of doing that? That's like some high level dark magic, which maybe some people are in that. I suppose it's like mostly it's using your own head. Yeah. And that's kind of what I told her, but I hope she's doing well. It was really interesting because I also got a text from another guy who was like a friend of this girl, and this was like the good guy that was like probably in love with the girl but didn't had never expressed it, etc. And yeah, it was a very interesting debacle. I was like, hey dude, I'm not. He's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, dude, I don't even know who you guys are. You guys are talking about this party and this um instance that happened. I have no idea who you guys are. Leave me alone. Flowbug and Gina. Well, you guys are a force for nature. Kutu, I just saw your report failed as well, so I'm gonna send you your report, my friend. I'm nervous to even like someone's photo if they friend me anymore. Wait, why? Why? Supernatural. I love that show. Anyone else watch Supernatural? That is such a good show. I have a brother, so I just really love that show just because of all the brotherhooding. All right, Kutu, I got you. Man, this is just gonna be like all day, just like manually generating reports for people because the system is failing. System's failing. But so guys, the developer is also a 3.5. He's a manifesting generator 3.5. And so this kind of stuff, if he was working with anyone else, I'd be like in his inbox, like, bro, I need help, blah, blah, blah. But instead of like, I broke the server again, lol, drop the price of my Reiki report and five reports in a row fail, which this has never actually happened, guys. Um, And so it's very interesting. So Philly, I just sent it to you. So check your email right now. I just sent it to you. It might still be sending, but I just sent it to you guys. And for anyone that's like, oh, I bought a report. I mean, I've helped all of you already. All of you have your reports. Kutu, Kenneth, Laura, um, Gina, David, you guys all got your reports. And if again, if you didn't, just email me and I'll figure it out. If you paid for something, I'm gonna make sure you get it. I'm definitely not out here trying to rip people off. I'm trying to give people deals. So Philly, let me know if you got it. Which has a 3-5, like having a reputation is very interesting because one of my like part of my motto is like my reputation is like I'm gonna be the guy that just like does his best. That's all. That's what my reputation is gonna be. I'm not gonna say like I'm the master of this or the master of that. No, I'm the one that's like genuinely just gonna do their best. Maya, I'm a 3-5 MG too. Yes. So I feel like 3-5 MGs have such a superpower because the third line is about martyrdom and making mistakes and learning by error, trial and error. And the fifth line is all about providing solutions. So it's like an accelerated approach to solutions that involves kind of like how Edison made 1,000 light bulbs and none of them worked until he made a light bulb that actually worked. The MG is also one where it can juggle multiple projects and multitasking and trailblazing, etc. So y'all are like built for R&D and like the 3-5s. What my friend Prana said, he goes, the guys that are like max testing vehicles and like putting the Cybertruck underwater and then driving it into a volcano and seeing, that's the 3-5s. Like we're here to like break stuff so that it can be built back better. Kenneth, can you share some understanding the report with the normal and distorted self? Yeah. So the normal, right? And I do want to change that word to natural, but the normal self contrasted with the not self or the distortion is quite simply, are you expressing from a place of inherent inspiration, or is it something from the outside world that you're attempting to emulate? I'll give you an example. So let's say you have an undefined ajna. Okay, this is the part of you that looks out into the world and says, okay, that's over there, that's happening right there. It's the external like contextualizer of your system. It's called the ajna, and it's right below the top center of your head. Um, with that, right? The natural version of that, the undefined ajna, is to be able to like be open to environments, and specifically as well the way people are thinking about environments, right? So it's like maybe you have a friend who's really logical and another friend who's like very abstract, right? So like one friend is looking at this and he's saying, yeah, there are 30 people here and this music is this way, and then you have the other friend who's like, yo, there's a lot of people here and they are all vibing, right? Different approaches. You as the undefined ajna are going to be able to feel both of those mental processes happening. Your distortion happens when you adopt one of those mental processes for your own. And you start to, even though you're not with your friends who are logical and abstract, maybe you're alone. Now you're thinking about things too logically, or you're thinking about things too abstractly. Whereas the natural version of you is whatever you're supposed to be able to use different ways of thinking and different ways of contextualizing the world to find yourself, how you say, utilizing that center in a way. So hopefully that helps. When it says something went wrong, what do I do? Oh, Nicola, I got you, my friend. Our servers sometimes poop. We're actually like at that threshold where we need to upgrade our servers. But I got you, Nicola. No worries. Thanks for letting me know. This has happened already quite a few times. This happens when oh, dude, 2 more. Okay, great. I love it. The dev me and the dev are going back and forth now. So you guys, hopefully there will be a remedy here. This is normally like a super streamlined process. It would happen today. It would happen today. That's hilarious. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for your patience. I really appreciate it. Again, this is, I promise this doesn't normally happen. And sometimes things happen like this. So, can you speak on 5-1? That's my husband, but I haven't heard much about it. Yeah, so the 5-1 is the heretical investigator. It's the one that wants to know the foundation so that they can improve the foundation. And one of the things about the 5-1 is that they're very they're not like 1-3s. They're not like investigating because they're curious. They're like investigating because they want to fix it. The fifth line is very much so about solutions. And so most men are very much like fifth line energy. They're very like, I want to fix it. And so the 5-1 is very much so like that as well. And so one of the things I always say is that if you can understand your own profile, one thing that you really need to do is be accepting of your partner's profile. Because if you don't accept the way that your partner moves through life, unfortunately, you're just going to be manipulating each other to be something that you're not. And that sucks. But anyway, Nicola, I think your report is coming up next. Let's see. Or I might have already sent it to you. I'm doing 2 right now, so. I'm going to try to get my homie to buy one. You will be checking arrows through today. Yeah, and it's like, again, if you guys give me money and let your friends know this, if you're like, hey, Marco's reports are on sale, it might error because there's so many things. Got it. Excellent. Thank you guys for your patience. Appreciate it so much. One thing is too is, guys, like I'm like new to being a business person. I've always just been like, how you say, talent, you can call it that. I was always the one like on stage singing or delivering the workshop or leading the retreat or offering the healing services. I was always like the service or the talent. And since having a child, it really pushed me into an edge of like, Marco, like, run a business, man. Like, create a system for people to engage with your teachings and engage with the things that you're interested in. Flowbug, you're slaying. Thank you. Oh, that is super helpful, guys. Because if I had given up on myself at any point during this year, not only would I not be able to spend as much time with my family and my daughter as I do, but you guys also wouldn't get what's coming next. And what's coming next, guys, is like these reports are cool. Human design is cool. But what's coming next is going to completely eclipse what happened. What is the most rare and common HD profile, smallest percentage in the world? So the most rare is the 4-1. This is the only profile that's what you would call, it's on a juxtaposition cross, meaning it's not the right angle cross. It's not a personal destiny cross. It's not a left angle cross. It's not a transpersonal destiny. Or a transpersonal profile. It's a fixed fate, meaning that you're going to be fulfilling your personal destiny and clearing karma with people at the same time. So the 4-1 is the most rare. The most common, there's a handful that are like pretty common. 3-5s are pretty common. 2-4s are pretty common. 5-1s are pretty common. I think those are probably the most common out of the bunch. But yeah. Cough, cough, cough. Back to reports to see whose reports have failed. All right, looks like we're all up to date. What's the profile name of the 4-1? It's I guess the profile name would be Opportunist Investigator. So Opportunist Investigator, the 4th line is all about networks. So if you have a 4 in your profile, this is relevant to you. The 4th line is all about networks, right? They're all about opportunities and connecting people and oh, it looked like it was coming out of my nose. That was hilarious. I get why these NPC things can be fun. If you guys send me gifts, I will do some weird, I will make some weird faces and stuff like that. Marco, how do you know all this off the top, bro? Because I've been studying this for 10 years, man. Like, I've been studying this for a long time, which is part of why I'm creating the community that I'm creating, because I don't want you guys to have to study this for so long, because there's a lot of, as much as human design is like very reduced in the sense of like, astrology in my mind is like very expansive, and human design is like reduced. It's very like accurate and like, giving you everything you need and nothing you don't. However, there's a missing component in here, and I talk about it a little bit on my page, but this community is going to be focused around it. There's a missing component of using basically somatic release exercises to accelerate your deconditioning process. And so, what is important to know about that is that, you don't have to know everything about human design to activate your circuitry, right? You don't have to know everything about human design, or really anything about human design, to activate your circuitry. So yeah, so basically I'm combining somatic exercises and human design to be able to like show you guys how to create your own kind of custom choreography. So now it's not about filling your head with knowledge, it's about exploring your body in a somatic manner, which is always, in my opinion, like if someone is like asking me, should I what should I do? Should I go learn yoga in Bali? Should I go drink medicine in the jungle? Or should I take a somatic bodywork course? I'm always going to say go do the somatic bodywork course, because what everyone is trying to do, deconditioning, has to do with not changing your mind, but changing your physical body. Right? Like there's parts of your body that are locked into these traumatized states because it's like a cast that got put on but never gets taken off. And so it's really important, this step. And again, like I said, I'm building a community that's going to be like very active, similar to TikTok Live in a way, actually, where we're going to be exploring a lot of this stuff through like weekly classes, and there'll be pre-recorded videos and a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, how do I feel about AI, the inevitability of it, and the balancing the aspect of the spirit? I think AI is just like money. It can be used for good if it's in the hands of a good person, or evil if it's in the hands of a bad person. Now, good and bad, of course, are just like morally abstract concepts. What I think that is really interesting about human design is that it's going to reveal more of our true nature as human beings, right? Because when human beings, and this is interesting because for the majority of people, when human beings don't have to work, they won't work. But certain human beings, when they don't have to work, they will do the thing that they love. And this is always the way, this has always been the way that it is. And if you're in this live right now, you're part of the cutting edge. Okay, understand this. If I have a spear, the only deadly part of the spear is the tip. If I hit you with the stick, it's not going to hurt you that much. The tip, the least amount of metal is at the tip. Okay, I'll say that again. The least amount of metal is at the tip. The highest level of consciousness, there's a little bit of it. Out of all of the reptiles in the world, okay, how many of them have wings? Out of all of the rocks and minerals and stones, how many of them are considered precious gems, right? Out of all of life, how much of it is actually thinking for itself? Out of all of humanity, how many people are actually living in alignment with their nature? So this is the reality, is the conscious evolving point of humanity is always going to be a minority. We can't wake up the masses, because when we wake up the masses, right? When we wake up the masses, then a new minority of forms that is the actual awakened ones. That's this the crazy part about it. And so with AI, like I said, I think it's going to reveal our true nature, because it's going to make it very clear who is like leveraging AI for a bag and who is leveraging AI for the good of humanity. Very clear. It might not be because it's such a new technology, it might not be very clear, but over time you're going to see it. And you can see it with cryptocurrency right now. There's people who are, like Sam Altman, who's just scamming people. And then there's people who are using cryptocurrency for like really good things. But when it comes to AI, again, AI is giving us access to a body of collective human knowledge, which this is very cool, because when people think about like quantum intelligence, right, in terms of a human being able to access quantum intelligence, Somebody that's fully awakened isn't going to need to ask AI, well, how do I awaken? Because it'll already be awakened. But you can engage in layers beyond that, which is why I'm saying is like AI is so cool because we are entering into this realm where, and if you guys haven't seen, they used AI to have a 20-minute conversation with a whale. So we now are an inter a species that is able to communicate with other species using AI, stuff like that. So I think, it's going to make life so much more, how you say, so much more. There's just going to be so much more to life. And yeah, Flowbug, right? All right, so the dev confirmed that it wasn't me breaking the server, that it was something else, or that it was, he said it was his fault. See, this is the awesome thing about working with people that are aligned with their design, is because what happens is when you're working with people that are aligned with their design, I'm not surprised really by um when things like this happen, and we're always trying to take accountability. It's like, oh yes, let's blame Mercury. I just sent him that. What do you say about the 3.6 projector? Son, give me a second. I'm gonna go pee. Tea makes me. Let's see. Y'all, that shit's actually so what's up, y'all? Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Mercury retrograde, and this is so interesting because you guys have heard of the placebo effect, right? It's like if you have test group A and test group B, and you give one test group like the medication and the other test group like a sugar pill, but you tell them both that they're getting the medication, you'll actually have people experiencing the same results, even though these people were getting sugar pills and these people were getting actual pills. What's really exciting about that is the power of perception, right? It's the power that belief has in the system, because one of the reasons why I think the placebo works in a medical sense is because someone feels like they're being taken care of. Ah, yes, I have a medicine that's going to fix me, so I don't have to worry about, am I gonna what's going on. And it's I would imagine there's probably tests, or they should be doing tests, in which you have two placebo groups, and you give both of them the actual pill, or you give both of them a sugar pill, and to one group you say, hey, this is 100% guaranteed to fix you, and then to the other group you say, this is an experimental drug, there's a 50% chance that it might fix you, and you watch and see what happens there. They haven't done these experiments yet because they haven't like given me a license to be able to experiment on people like that, but I would run some cool experiments like that. Because I believe the determining factor in your health and your well-being is not necessarily like what other people think it is. It's about coherence. Coherence is that your left hand and your right hand are not fighting each other for superiority. Jenna, so you say they have done experiments like that? I know they do placebo experiments, but I haven't heard of that one in terms of like the delivery method, like kind of like I explained. Which that would be again, that's super interesting to me because there's so much that so many nuances to the placebo effect, and I'll have to read more a little bit more about it, because I know about a handful of studies. One of the one that's my favorite is actually having to do with housekeepers. So they had two groups of housekeepers that they worked the same routes as each other and the same amount of hours and stuff, and they gave all of them tracking devices like Fitbits or something, and they told one group, they said, hey, Just go about your day and let us collect the data. And the other group, they educated them, or they lectured them, really. They lectured them on, hey, when you do 1,000 steps, this is how many calories it burns, and if you burn this many calories, you're going to lose this much weight, etc. So one group was in the know of how these numbers are affecting them, and that group lost more weight, or they experienced more health benefits than the group that was tracking it, but they didn't understand the health benefits. So this is why it's like being an unconscious competent is cool, right? Like living out your design without knowing human design is really, it's actually amazing. But then if you take that person and you give them human design, it's a whole nother level of cool. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying this live, by the way, and you want to help me out, just apply things that I'm sharing. You can share the live. That's always super helpful. Liking the live is helpful as well. The higher that number goes, the more TikTok is going to rank us up there with all the NPC people and etc. Um, but yeah, the really what I care about is that you're actually using this information to make your life better. That's really why I'm here. And I say that because over the past 2-3 years, my time as a human design professional, guys, I've helped so many people. I've helped so many people get through such like crazy stuff just by like showing them, hey, accept this part, that part over there, don't accept that. That's your mom, that's your dad. And I help people. I work it out because in your undefined centers, you're going to absorb a lot of stuff from your mom, dad, especially when you're a child. You're going to absorb like this is how to process emotions. This is how to satisfy desires. This is how to get attention. You're going to absorb those adaptive strategies from people in your life, especially as a small child, but even into your adolescence. And if you don't become aware that you've adapted that strategy and start using your natural strategy, again, there's so much frustration that you're just going to get. Son, you were asking about 3-6 projectors. My 3-6 path talks about life post 30. Is that common with all paths? Yes. All people, it's called the Saturn return, right? It's when you either recognize the limitations of your maturing body or you don't, and you try and be young forever. You know what I mean? Um, it's part of the maturing process for everyone, but the sixth line is particular in a way that during the 30s, it's almost, not to say it's impossible, but it's very very challenging for you to how you say, let go of your mistakes. And the reason you don't let go of your mistakes is because you take them all up on the roof with you, and you look at them, and you look at other people, and you look at them. And projectors will experience this a lot. You're looking at the mistakes, you're looking at people, you're like, oh wait, don't do that. Oh wait, I'm supposed to wait for an invitation. Oh, but I really, hold on. Okay. What? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like for a 3-6 profile for a projector is like, you're gonna do things a lot without invitations, and you're going to learn eventually, and it might take you a long time to learn, like, oh yeah, if I'm not invited, if people don't recognize me, I'm just sticking my foot in there. This is so funny. So the server is being restarted, guys, and Carla, we have a successfully delivered report. All right, guys. So it looks like the servers are back online, and that is a great thing because now we might be able to extend this deal. Um, which, yeah, if we can, but also, guys, if we can break the server with the amount of orders that we put in, I would love that, because I'm kind of offended that the amount of reports we were generating didn't break the server, that it was something else. And how, if this server is stronger, The server is stronger. We gotta break it. Let's go. So you let go of 19 not to interfere as a projector or any middle-aged wise guys from your mistakes. Yeah, and again, guys, it's like there's no, even though you're maybe not a sixth line or a third line, like there's no avoiding the world of trial and error. That's how it is. The third line is probably the most relatable for everyone because it's quite literally the most material profile line of all. It's as close to the now as you can get. Whereas investigation is a lot of times about the past. Hermiting is also about like the past. You think reflectors or six lines going up on the roof into kind of a second line phase of like hermiting down to reflect on the past. Third line is like re-emerging from the cave. I'm ready to go. Fourth line is like, who am I going to connect with? What opportunities am I going to take advantage of? Fifth line is what solutions can I bring? And sixth line is like, how can I show people how to implement those solutions by being the Does the report have anything the app doesn't? I just got the app. So Renee, the language in my reports is closer to the actual, how you say, the actual like human design, classical human design stuff. The language in the app is incredible because it's a little bit more digestible and approachable, but I like the like really sharp stuff. So my stuff is, the report is a little different, but the language and everything is it's synonymous, right? It's we're talking about the same thing. So one might be through, a purple lens and the other one is through a blue lens, but you're seeing the same object. So yeah, so again, to answer your question, yes, the report has some things that the app doesn't, especially if you get the Reiki report, the one that's on sale right now. And actually, I'm gonna take down the gonna disable the other one. So all you're gonna everyone is just gonna see the Reiki report now, hopefully. Um yeah. What else is I Oh, let's see. Yeah, so and another thing that my reports have that the app doesn't is kind of like the method, you know. Um um the the app is called Neutrino Design, and you can actually get that is on my website. So go to my website, and it'll take you through a little bit of a process. You subscribe, get a code, download the app, enter the code, and there's directions in there. But you can get it for 25% off, and it's not a watered down version. It's the full app. I just like giving people discounts, and the dev loves me and loves what I do. So we're just hooking people up over here. But the method for approaching human design, which I think is very important, because a lot of people are, how you say, just they're just learning. It's like it's mental, it's mental, right? it's not actual application. And so I'm in the report, I have a section on the method and then also the application of like, hey, here are some things that you might want to incorporate into your daily life to make the process of deconditioning and the process of learning human design more applicable so that you can actually see some results. Now me and the dev are talking about other stuff. It's great. Yeah, definitely Renee. And oh, for the Manifestor 4-1. Yes. Oh my gosh, guys. I wish I could let you in on these conversations, but they're private for now. But you'll probably see the benefit. You'll be benefiting from it in a year, probably. Yes, something super to look forward to, Loki. Yes, Marco, this is amazing. Thank you, Nicola. You're very welcome. I'm always so it always just lights me up and warms me up because guys, I've been studying human design for like 10 years now. And I've been in like the Reiki world and had my spiritual awakening like 12, 13 years ago. And it wasn't until I had a child that I was really like spurred on from circumstances of like, hey, you have to make money now with this. You can't just like learn things and just not share them with the world. But then also it's like the excitement. I was nervous about like, oh, what if I do things and you know people mess up? But then I remember another quote about this one's about Jesus and is about his Sermon on the Mount. And it talks about how some of the people that he was preaching to were confused and they were the confused. Some of the people that he was preaching to doubted him and they were the doubters. And then some of the people believed and saw the light and those are the believers. And this is why I'm doing it. There's going to be plenty of people doubting me. There's going to be plenty of people that are confused. And it's not, I'm not saying like, fuck them. What I'm saying is like, I'm not here talking to them. I'm here talking to the people that are actually receptive and can see it and want to see what's on the other side of it. And so I had been listening and watching for some time, and today I finally decided to go for it. Super awesome. Nicola, this is just the very tip of the iceberg because, again, with the Reiki report, I designed it so that it effectively would take the place of having a session with me. Nothing can replace that because I'm actually able to reflect you and talk and ask questions. But everything and my method is from a very practical approach. And it's not something that I learned from human design. It's something that I developed before and separate of human design, that when I started to learn human design and apply it to coaching with other people, it's that's what it is. So it basically took all my practical approaches to life, and using human design made them hyper accurate to each individual based off of their body graph. So it just like supercharged me. So it's exciting to learn from someone who cares so much and is in such an applied way. Refreshingly high key. Yes, Flowbug, thank you. And I'm gonna flex on you guys real quick because yesterday was Thanksgiving. I grew up celebrating Thanksgiving, and so for me, it's you know, it's not necessarily about the tradition. It's about what my experience was, which was being with family. And for the past 3 years, guys, I haven't been with my family that I grew up with in San Diego. I've been here on Maui with my family that I created. And it's really sad. Like, I get really sad. I miss my family a lot. I'm really close to my family. I spend a lot of time like um, speaking with my brother, and like we do FaceTimes and stuff, but it's different. And my extended family, I just don't talk to them anymore. And I love them and I miss them too. And yesterday, I it was me, my partner, and our baby, and my partner's sister. And we had this like, you know, cute little like Thanksgiving kind of like breakfast. And there, I don't know what it was. And let me know if you guys resonate with this. You know, there was something like poor about it. There was something like pitiful. It wasn't like a big family or like a big home cooked meal that, you know, the women spent hours preparing. It was like, you know, we got some pre-made mashed potatoes from Costco type stuff. And we were having like a how you say that kind of winter celebration. And it made me really like I wasn't sad. I was just I was noticing that sadness rising within me and the expectation that I had for what Thanksgiving is supposed to look like. And so we did, you know, breakfast together, and then a late lunch. And then one of my buddies texted me and was like, "Hey, we're having some friends over. If you want to come, come." Normally my partner doesn't like to go out after 3 p.m. and the thing was at 5. And so but we ended up going, and all my friends were there. Like all of my friends that I would like have wanted to see on Maui were there. And yeah, it had me tearing up because I was like, guys, I didn't know how much I wanted this or needed this. And yeah, I it was really it really touched me. Um, and it's because I've been like I genuinely believe it's because of um the way that human design and some of my other modalities have encouraged me to just like accept who I am and just be myself, that I'm able to live this life where I'm like it's like a dream life. And funny enough, I actually when I went to San Diego earlier this year, I remember looking at my journals and I was like complaining about my ex, but after that, I wrote out the life that I wanted to have, and I'm living that life now, guys. And that was like 3 years ago. I'm down to the T. Like I'm in a small space that's completely my own. I live right by a river. I'm deep in nature. I have a woman that loves me. Like my partner, if I'm tired, like she's not coming in and being like, "Hey, like we need this and blah, blah." She'll let me rest. She'll ask me if I want shoot food. She's a wonderful woman. And I believe that's genuinely because I'm a wonderful man, and I treat her well. And so, again, my path is going to be different than yours, but we can still use the same tools, because the same tools will allow you to align with your path the same way that they have allowed me and so many of my friends to align with their path. And that was the reason I did it, guys. The reason I'm doing all this is because I've been doing it and it's working. And it would be absolutely disgraceful if I didn't share this with as many people as I possibly can. And the journey begins with just one report. Like, you get your report, that sets off the whole thing. Because again, my method and my approach to human design is a little bit different than everybody else that you're going to see. I'm a reflector. I'm a 3-5, so I would say I'm designed to be on the cutting edge, and it's always been scary for me to be on the cutting edge, because it's like, what if I'm wrong? And it's like, well, you are a third line, bro. So that question that cuts your legs off before the race even starts. Hi, Marco. I don't know how to say your name, but I wish I could. I'm gonna pee. I'll be right back. Hey, hey, hey. All right. So, with that being said, enough about me, guys. An honest question about human design and your life. Those are the ones that I'm going to prioritize. My projector son wants to do this. I don't know how to approach it. My generator husband wants to do this. I don't know how to approach it. I'm this looking for this kind of career. How do you think I should go about it based off my design? I'm here to help with that. And this is going to be stuff. And so, anyway, yeah, just an invitation for anyone that wants some help. This is a great time to get it. And um, there's a lot of information, basic information, and advanced information in um, in the reports, which are on sale today for 40% off, guys. They're normally $35. They're $20 today. All you have to do is go to my website, generate your body graph, and then you'll see an option to buy the report. It's called the Reiki report. And it does the full analysis on your body graph, including variables and advanced stuff that a lot of other reports just don't do. And then it also is going to give you my Reiki Marco approach to human design, which is infused with like somatic healing, Reiki, meditation, like just very practical kinds of things that are going to, again, make the deconditioning process more graceful as well as accelerated in some ways. So, what is life trying to show me with having so many projectors in my life? 3-5 as a 2-4 gen. Interesting. So when projectors are coming into your life, projectors are guides, right? I find that people who have a lot of projectors in their life, and it depends on how you feel about the projectors. So Ellington, let me do you like these projectors, or is it like, man, there's a lot of like really annoying projectors in my life? Because by annoying, I don't mean that projectors are annoying, but anybody that's not following their strategy for me is annoying. Right? Projectors that really want to go deep with you, but they're not waiting for an invitation to go deep. They're just really going deep with you. That's super annoying. Same thing with a generator that's just got like way too much energy, and they're not like recognizing that like oh, this person over here like doesn't have that kind of energy, right? And so um if you have a lot of projectors in your life, it's very important to especially as a generator, to ask yourself, well, do I feel positively about this person, or do I feel more so negatively? Do I feel like they're enhancing my life, or do I feel like they're detracting and it takes a lot of energy to be friends with them? Most are close friends or partners, but if you do as a generator have a lot of projectors in your life, that is a very good pairing. That typically means that not only are you actually good at recognizing projectors, because again, if the projectors are not self and they're just around you because they like being around you, and they don't actually feel recognized and invited by you, that's another thing. But provided that you're able to recognize projectors, that's a very powerful skill for a generator to have, because typically generators that are unconscious, they're not able to see beyond what's in it for me. And you're designed to look first at what's in it for me, but every human being is designed to also look at what's in it for other people and who's different and who am I impacting, right? So even though you're not a projector, you do still care about the other, but you care about the other from a perspective of what's in it for me. And so one of the things that I would say in terms of your projector friends, one thing that you could do to enhance the relationship is write their names on a piece of paper, right? Or a Word document, and then just write one sentence in terms of what the person does for you. This person makes me feel confident. This person makes me feel emotionally deep. And by makes me feel, I mean like you're recognizing them for their ability to amplify something about you. And again, it is very much so about the your experience of them, not necessarily their experience in the world, right? Because when you have the generator projector combination, it's like the generator that recognizes the projector is able to guide the generator, and the generator is able to lend the projector their energy. That's a recipe for a lot of success. So anyway, Tara, and if you don't have any questions to ask, no worries. Just keep cruising. If you feel like it, it's totally like that. If something comes to mind, feel free to ask it. My three siblings are projectors, and I'm a reflector. My mom is a generator. I feel she gives us a drive. Yeah. And that's the part of, the dynamic between different types that's really important, is like you're not locked in a box. It's not like projectors don't do good with generators or etc. It's people that are themselves typically do better with people that are themselves, and developing the faculties to recognize when you're being yourself and when you're being your not self, and when other people are being themselves and when other people are being their not selves. That's what you want to develop. Can you give any insight into a manifesting generator 4-6? So yeah, so manifesting generators they're very much so about like multitasking and optimizing systems. If you are a 4-6, and you're under the age of 30, it means a lot of mistakes. If you're over the age of 30, it typically means like either a recluse kind of phase or a role model type of phase. But that fourth line is really going to encourage you to make a lot of connections. And so one of the things I would say for a manifesting generator, even if you don't run a business, find a good CRM or a good way to like stay in contact with people aside from Facebook and social media. Get like a professional one. I have one. If you want to DM me, I have an incredible one that I use for my business, but it can be used for just like personal network building. Because what you want to do as a fourth line in any profile, 2-4, 4-6, 4-1, you want to like treat your network and the connections in your life like gold, right? Because if you need a job, or if you need if you want to find a mate, guarantee the best version of that is going to come through your network, right? And being able to pulse your network and being able to respond to, hey, you helped so and so and so meet. Could you help me find someone, right? And this is interesting because manifesting generators in particular have manifested channels. Doesn't mean you're supposed to go around and initiate things like a manifester. What it means is that when your sacral responds to something, that thing is typically going to manifest quicker. It's why pure generators are built for momentum, but it takes more energy to speed up, slow down, change directions, whereas manifesting generators are built for acceleration and changing of direction and multitasking. Generators, you want a system that works, that you can do over and over and over again, and like a train, build up speed. Or manifesting generator, you're like a race car, like really quick to accelerate, really quick to slow down, can handle multiple different terrains and tracks. Very important. So 1-3 generator, I currently feel lost and dissatisfied with life. So Felicia, this is actually a good place to be. A lot of people think it's bad, but there was a time in your life when you were lost and dissatisfied, but you didn't know that, right? You didn't know you felt lost. You didn't know you felt dissatisfied. You just maybe like you might have been aware that something was wrong, but probably weren't. Now that you're aware that you feel lost and dissatisfied, you can actually start taking steps towards feeling a sense of direction and feeling satisfaction. Now, when it comes to satisfaction, we look at the sacral, listening to the body language, like being able to watch and listen to your own body language. This is literally, it's called interoception. It's the ability to feel your lungs expanding, feel your heart beating. All this is happening inside your body. And for the satisfaction, you feel into, as a woman, you feel into the ovaries. As a man, you feel into the testicles, right? And these are your sex organs. This is where sexual energy is created. This is the force needed. It's needed. It's not wanted. It's needed, actually needed to progress life and to for life to continue. So it's a very important energy. But the more that you tune into that, the more you're going to realize, like, oh man, I don't listen to this. It's hard for me to listen. Sometimes I can't hear it. You're going to come up against all of the challenges that have always been there, but you weren't aware of it. And so it's really important to recognize that if you feel lost and dissatisfied, that's better than feeling nothing at all. Right. And there were times in your life when probably you felt you didn't really feel that. You might have been happy, but you look back and you're like, it was a surface level happiness. Now I have a higher standard for myself when it comes to happiness, and I'm actually going to live up to that. So yeah. And then when it comes to direction, if you have an undefined G center, lost is good. You don't need a direction, right? Your sense of direction is so that you can look at other people and recognize, yeah, that person's moving in the right direction, or that person is not moving in the right direction. When you attempt to apply it to yourself, you're basically just going to start comparing yourself to other people. Now, if your G center is defined, this is the yellow diamond in the very middle of your chart. If your G center is defined, this is going to say how you mean there is going to be some kind of consistent direction. And if you look at the gate activation, you can determine, and whether am I supposed to look forward into the future? Am I supposed to look back into the past? Is this about manifesting my vision? Is this about balancing extremes? Is this about my behavior in social settings? Is this about my my agendas and my innocence or my ego, right? And you can tell all that, and you can look at the gates in your report. You can look at the gates and you can read about the gate and the line that the gate is in, and you can start to like contextualize, okay, what area of direction, because lost is without a direction, what area of direction, how am I hardwired to process direction? Because again, a lot of the times people with undefined G centers will be around people that have really strong senses of direction. They don't feel lost, but when you follow them, you still feel lost because that's somebody else's direction, not yours. People with undefined G centers, and especially if you have no gate activation in the undefined G center, that's called an open G. If you have an open G or an undefined G center, but especially an open G, you want to be very mindful about not following people because they have a good direction, not mistaking, oh, you're moving in a good direction, and so if I move in that direction, that'll be good for me too. Not necessarily true. And it doesn't mean that you can't do that, but you don't want to do that forever. Like, in a lot of ways, people with undefined G centers, and I have an undefined G centers, right? And I have a direction, and I have things that I'm manifesting that I want to create, but I'm not married to any of them. I've been a Reiki master teacher, and then a retreat facilitator, and then a sound healer, and then a musician, and now I'm a human design professional, and now I'm getting into somatic therapy. Like, there's so many different chapters of life, and if you're busy looking for something, for a form of validation or a form of identity, and you're doing that with an undefined G center, unfortunately, you're like a fish that's dreaming about being a bird. You're a fish. Once you accept being a fish, then maybe you can experience what you want to experience without needing wings and needing to be something different. So Felicia, go to my website, reikimarco.com, generate a body graph there. I recommend getting a report because they're 40% off right now for Black Friday. As well as there's a bunch more information in there that is going to just, and especially if you're new to human design, it's just going to blow you out of the water with how accurate this stuff is. You're gonna be like, oh dang. And then also with how like pointed it is, where it's like it might say, hey, this is your natural strategy, and you'll be like, oh, I don't do that. And then it'll be like, this is your distorted version of it, and then you'll be like, oh fuck, I do that shit. So there'll be some times, but like I was saying, and it was a cool question that you asked, because this is part of the journey. When you are freed from oppression, you don't immediately go to the promised land. What happens when you're freed from oppression is you have to heal the void, right? You have to wander the desert. This is in all the sacred texts. There was always some kind of fast or wandering in the desert, or being freed from oppression didn't mean you're now spiritual. It means you have to take account and you have to become aware of all the ways that you were actually oppressing yourself. What do you think about sidereal human design versus tropical, or too big a question? No, Paulina, I'm totally happy to answer this. I do not subscribe to the sidereal modifications that cosmic human design has done to human design, and here's why. The first is that sidereal astrology versus tropical astrology is you use them for different things. And one of the best ways to describe this is like tropical astrology is like a single age, right? Sidereal astrology is a super zoomed out, incorporating the precession of the equinox and all of these different things that make a lot of the information that we've been tracking since tropical astrology was initiated sort of irrelevant. It's for a being that lives 26,000 years, not 100 years. Now, the second reason is because Rod didn't forget about human design. And if you read about the creation of cosmic human design, it's almost as if this guy like didn't actually fully understand human design, and he created sidereal modifications to human design, in my opinion, because his partner was a projector, but she felt like a reflector, and that he was a generator, but he felt like a projector. And so it's like a very classic change the model to suit my theory rather than change my theory to suit the model or the results of the experiment. And if you want more information on this, and I did a deep dive on this because I would get that question a lot. Oh, is cosmic human design better? I resonate more with that. It's probably because you're not self, and you're very conditioned. Again, human design is not about looking at your chart and be like, oh, I resonate with it. It's looking at your chart and being like, great, I know exactly what area of my life to work on. Right? It's not here to be like, oh, feel good about knowing who you are. It's here to be like, hey, feel something and start taking steps towards who you actually are. And so anyway, there's a really good video on YouTube, and I need to throw it up in my bio because it's so good. But the video is by a guy named Jonah Dempsey. Jonah Dempsey, sidereal human design. Go look that up on YouTube, Paulina, and he'll blow your mind. This dude is like very well versed in human design. He'll explain it a lot better than I do. But essentially, yeah, I don't think sidereal modifications on human design are helpful for the community. I don't think it shows us like your soul's design or anything like that. I read that tropical is about who I think I should be, and sidereal is about who you really are. Yeah, that's for people that don't know how to actually explain the difference or why the sidereal modifications are irrelevant, or not irrelevant, but just incorrect. And again, this is just my personal belief, and people will get benefit from using sidereal as who they really are and tropical about who they think they should be. Again, this kind of stuff, it just makes things more confusing with human design, because again, sidereal astrology is a part of human design, just not for personal calculations, because the types of calculations that you get for an individual are you say based off of a 26,000 year cycle, not a 100-year cycle or a year-long cycle like tropical astrology is. And the information that we have about astrology and the I Ching and all that stuff, it's not based off of sidereal modifications. It's based off of tropical astrology. So, again, in translation, sidereal astrology or sidereal human design is not human design. It's a different system. And they might still be using a body graph and all that stuff, but it's not showing you your human design. It's showing you your cosmic human design, which was created by somebody who didn't fully understand the human design system. It's a full-on appropriation, straight up. Innocent as it may be, or good, well-intentioned as it may be. But does it say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions? Not that these guys are going to hell or anything like that. It's so funny. Sometimes I say stuff and I'm like, what? Did I seriously say that? But anyway, I am a third line. So what is your take on why we aren't just naturally super aligned? Curious on what you would say. Really cool question. There's a lot of reasons why human beings aren't aligned. One of my personal beliefs, and this goes back to like my personal theology, which is very much so based off of the works of a man named Samuel Sagan. And if you look him up, he's incredible. Actually, if you go to my Amazon wish list, you can look at the books that I'm about to talk about. The button for that is on my website, reikimarco.com/links. It's the link in my bio. But Samuel Sagan is a French guy that got a degree in meditation and subtle bodies and then formed a meditation school in Australia. And his whole thing was like, how do we access spiritual worlds without being trapped by the dogma of like which god you believe in and all that stuff? And he created a method of exploring non-physical realities that could be tested very scientifically. So it's like when you close your eyes, you see black. But if you're able to tune into the non-physical realities more, eventually you enter into this like hazy purple space. And it's kind of similar to the space that Neo goes into, the construct, that like all white room. It's kind of like that. It's like the intermediary dimension between like this realm, the physical world, and these areas of non-perceivable realities. And I've been there many times, and it's very simple way to access it. And you don't need to, like, again, pray to a certain god. It's not like some god gifted you a power. It's us using our physiology and our bodies to access these non-physical worlds. And we do it all the time unconsciously. But when you start to do it consciously, and again, in this book, it's called Awakening the Third Eye. It's in my Amazon what's that called, Amazon shop. So if you guys want to get this book, it's called Awakening the Third Eye by Samuel Sagan. It's incredible. My HD profile is I'm a 3.5. So yeah, of course I would be like shitting on on sidereal astrology while simultaneously creating my own version of human design. But anyway, the these non-perceivable worlds are after he, okay, I'm digressing. He created this meditation school, and then he wrote a novel series about Atlantis that feels like a history book. And I've always believed that Atlantis was an actual place, but I never really resonated really profoundly with all of the stories that were out about it. And then when I read Atlantean Secrets, which is the book I'm talking about, my theology is very much so based off that. And it like is very synonymous to the origins of Reiki and the story of Usui Sensei. It's very similar to the journey of Christ, about an unawakened being becoming awakened through a process of initiation. So it reads kind of like Lord of the Rings mixed with The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So if you like either of those two books, go check out Atlantean Secrets. Again, the link is in my bio. Just scroll down to the Amazon shop. But the reason I share that is because at the end of the Atlantean age, everyone knows there was some kind of cataclysm, right? There was a flood that sunk the city. All of the information and the rituals and the culture was preserved and kept secret. At one point, everybody was included in the rituals to like keep Atlantis going. Nowadays in society, not everybody is included. And I'll say this again. Not everybody is included in today's society. There are smaller, niched out societies that people will create for themselves because they don't feel included. In Atlantis, it was different. And in Atlantis, everyone was aligned, right? But that wasn't necessarily good. That was just what was happening. Nowadays, you have some people that are aligned, some people that are really not aligned. That's not a bad thing. That's just something that's happening. And so the reason I think people are misaligned is because there's a sort of like mutation that's happening with life that is looking to explore all of the wrong ways to do it. Again, I said no one can avoid the third line way of life, making mistakes. No one can avoid that. No one's perfect. Not even Christ was perfect, right? When you start to realize that making mistakes, not being aligned is still useful for your alignment, that's when you actually become a spiritual being. And I learned this actually very early on, not in that context, but through Reiki. And the way I learned it was when I would do hands-on healing with people, sometimes I would see things and I'd get really excited, and then the energy would stop flowing. Or sometimes I would see things and I would be like very surprised or taken back by it. And then that would be the end of the flow. And so again, there were a lot of ways that I had to temper my reactions. and start to respond to things rather than, or even hold off my response to things to prevent myself from interrupting the flow. So anyway, that's what I say. So I don't know the story. How did you start here with doing TikTok live? People on TikTok live are quite specific. What do you mean by that, Paulina? I'm curious. I just started going. I got started going TikTok live because it was fun. It was really fun, and I found some people that were like, "Dude, you changed my life. I've been watching you for all of your videos." Because it's like, I see the people that comment on my videos, but if you're that kind of person that just likes the video and saves it, I don't really know who you are. And if you see me live, you come into live, and I'm talking about something that's relevant to you, and you say something, you give me some feedback. As a reflector, feedback is one of the best things for me. Right? Oh, Marco, this is really helpful. I'm really confused about this, especially as a third line, because I know I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. But TikTok Live is a way for me to accelerate my deconditioning process because I am a third line and a fifth line. I'm here to make a lot of how you say again make mistakes faster so that I can get to more solution making. So there's a lot of hate, weird comments, etc. This is what I see. So are you saying that when you go TikTok Live, you see a lot of hate on your and weird comments, or are you seeing hate and weird comments on my live? I'm confused, Paulina. So new to this, just bought the report, curious to see what happens during the Saturn return. Profile 1-3, random people on TikTok. Yeah, there's a lot of, and again, it's like, those same people come into my live. I have people all the time like coming in and just like, trying to hijack the live. I just don't let them. That's all. I haven't had to ban anyone, but no one really gets under my skin. Like I've had people come on and be like, Christ is king, like you need to repent. This is devil worship. And I'm like, all right, guys. So because this person is here, we are going to, summon a demon or something. I play with them because, the haters, and understand this too, is if you don't have haters, you're not really doing anything unique, right? And not that the most valuable thing you can do is be unique, but you're not necessarily like having a stand. You don't have a standard. Like my standard is going to, how you say, affect the way that people see me, right? If I say I think that relationships should be based off family, based off of procreation and having children and raising children to be their very best selves, not based off societal expectations, but off of actual observation and presence, there's going to be people that are going to come in and be like, well, what about man-man relationships? What about women-women relationships? What about relationships that people can't have kids, or trans relationships? And I'm like, dude, I'm not here to dismantle any of your beliefs. This is just my belief. Now, one thing you'll notice is that a lot of haters, the way that they get the attention, not self-attention, but the way that they get attention is by trying to tear down other people's beliefs because theirs don't actually stand up to it. And the way that people actually make an impact in the world is not by tearing down other people's systems, but by creating systems that make other people's systems obsolete. That's it. That's it. You don't make change by tearing down the system that's there. You make change by creating something that actually justifies the dismantling of another system. So again, it's a very hot take, and I don't like to be super in people's faces about it because it's a very confusing agenda, in my opinion. The a lot of the spiritual stuff that's going around, a lot of the activism stuff that's going around, it's a very confusing agenda, and it's not meant to actually create any sustainable change, in my opinion. It's meant to distract from the activities that are creating sustainable change, because here's the thing: we are moving away from infrastructure and big government and all this stuff. We're moving towards the individual taking care of itself. And this is what I mean when I talk about, as well, I talk about a lot like people getting trapped in the human design system and just like stuck in the rhetoric of human design and never actually like growing or expanding themselves. And I compare it to government in the sense that, like, the reason the government is so inefficient at taking care of us is because we suck at taking care of ourselves, or at least the majority of people do. And we also rely too much on the government. A lot of people are like living off food stamps and living off welfare. And again, it's not to say that if you need that stuff, that's bad, but a lot of people don't need it. They're doing it because they have yet to actualize what gift they're here to bring to the world. And my theory is that if you actualize yourself and your design and what you're here to bring to the world, all of that stuff will come. I've seen it time and time again where people like actually do the thing that they know that they're here to do, but they've been too afraid to do it. And it puts them out on a limb. And maybe there's a period of time where they're like, I don't know if this is going to work, but that's the creative process, y'all. That's the process of life. It's not just, again, free from oppression. Now I'm in the promised land. It's free from oppression. Wander the desert and see, are you going to go back to oppression because it was more comfortable there? Are you going to go back to your toxic ex who beat you just because you just want someone to validate you and love you? And again, I'm not trying to shame you, but I do want you to know that you will be guilty of choosing a life of comfort over a life of freedom, and your punishment will be appropriate. So anyway, that was a hot take. I am still in fear when it comes to doing lives here. Exactly. Thank you for your perspective. Yeah, Paulina, just get on it, especially if you're a third line cis. Get on it, get interested. Your profile is 1-3, right? So get interested in the people, ask people questions about their lives, ask people where they're having trouble with human design. And again, so much of learning about human design is like I can't tell you how many times I've like one of the things, I'll give you a real world example. I was doing a video and I talked about undefined centers, but I called them open centers. And one of my teachers, Prana, he goes, hey, Marco, just so you know, undefined centers and open centers are not the same. Undefined centers have at least one dormant gate. Open centers have no gate activation at all. And I had a little panic moment because I'm like, oh, damn, like I gave people wrong information. I used a term in a system that really highly values precision. I gave them a wrong term. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to talk about that mistake instead of trying to hide from it. So as a third line, Paulina, one thing I can give to you is that if you don't share the wrong information as a third line, you will never really get to the right information. If you don't confront the fear around going TikTok live, you will always be stuck in that box of fear. And again, social media and TikTok live in particular is such a powerful tool for refining your process. And go, dude, sis, go on there and be awkward as fuck. You know what I mean? Get on and be awkward as fuck, because at one point, I know it, you're at one point you're going to be out there and it's going to be a little bit awkward, but then there's going to be a moment where like you really have fun, right? Or there's going to be a moment where someone's like, oh my God, that was so helpful. Thank you so much, Paulina. That will make it all worth it. Again, everyone is going to be either confused, they're going to doubt you, or they're going to get it and they're going to be very grateful. So do it for those people, the doubters, the confused ones, the haters. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Don't be intimidated by them. They really do not have much power over you anyway. So, oh, Paulina, I'm super happy. And also as well, from a selfish point of view, I want more people talking about human design. And if it's funny because that's kind of counterintuitive because I'm a human design professional, but it's like I'm a 3-5 reflector. I have a different take on human design than you do. And the world needs everybody's take on human design, right? Not to like change the system, but how you use the system is going to be different than me. The way that you approach it, the type of people that are attracted to you, Paulina, are not necessarily going to be attracted to me. We need you to do this, to share this information. It's a group effort. So yeah, please do it. And all right, since I trust that you're going to go live, I just followed you. So if you do go live, hopefully I'll see it and I can come in there and cheer you on. Because again, it's like even just going live, I know that that's like can be a big deal for people. And again, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be challenging at first, but you just have to practice it. And you have to like, we speak so that we can understand ourselves, not so that other people can understand us. I'll say that again. We speak so that we can understand ourselves, not so that other people can understand us. This is why when someone repeats something back to you, you feel more understood, because they literally understand you better because they have repeated what you said. So when we speak, we are literally developing our understanding of something. And when we act, that effect is multiplied. When we make mistakes and we have a good attitude about it and we're like, yeah, I'm learning, that's how we can, how you say, accelerate a lot of these processes. So anyway, Paulina, I really hope that helps. And I really hope I get to catch you live one of these days. Because like I said, it's important for everyone to do their part. Very important for everyone to do their part. I've been trying to motivate myself to share more of my learning with others because it teaches me. Aluna, yeah, don't try and teach other people. You know what I mean? Just like share your learning as a way of getting feedback for what you know and what you learn. I'm gonna go pee. Hey, hey. I could be doing some really hilarious stuff. Not the full sound. Wait, did you guys hear me peeing? That's okay if you did. I'm not embarrassed, but you got me thinking about open versus undefined centers. Now, can you elaborate? Yes, absolutely. So when you have an undefined center, when you have at least one dormant gate in your system, right? What you have is the potential for a channel to be formed based off of a transit or another person. When you don't have that hanging gate, the other person has to have the channel, or the transit has to have the whole channel for that to turn on for you. And so people with undefined centers will experience more of the definition of that center than somebody with an open center. And the way that translates is like if you have an undefined heart, right? There's at least one gate. Proving yourself, you're not really going to have much energy for that. When it comes to self-worth and your ego, there's going to be some semblance of like, what's worthy and what you desire and all that. But if you have an open center, it's going to be it's probably going to feel really out of reach because it's not going to be a part of your experience as often as somebody with an undefined center. Does that make sense? So open centers are a lot more vulnerable to conditioning, and they're also a lot more how you say, or a lot less defined less often, or they're defined much less often than undefined centers. Because again, your body graph is your body graph, it doesn't change. But as you move through life and you meet people and the transits, those will activate parts of your body graph and parts of your system that are normally not active. Like for instance, I have gate 48. So when anyone with a 16 is around me, that activates my spleen. And in those times when my spleen is active, it's a very subtle thing, but my intuition is just like a little bit sharper, right? My intuition and my ability to gauge my own health and what's healthy for me is just a little bit sharper, right? So anyway, Tim, I have two open centers. I'm pretty sure I've seen your body graph before, dude. And yeah, reflectors with open centers is like I'm pretty balanced. I have a lot of undefined centers, no open centers. I have a lot of hanging gate or dormant gates in my throat, which is one of the reasons one of my teachers, Prana, pointed out to me. He goes, "You have like a lot of undefined centers or a lot of undefined or a lot of dormant gates. You have a lot of dormant gates in your throat. This is probably why you're so good at speaking." I was like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." But I noticed my speaking style. I spent a lot of time doing presentations in high school. I went to a very different kind of high school. It was a project-based learning school. And then I spent a lot of time in the network marketing industry and doing a lot of like presentations for products and business plans and stuff like that. And so I got really good at speaking, but the way that I got really good at speaking was I observed how and what other people said, and I just parroted it. And I got really good at parroting, just repeating things that worked for other people, which is an adaptive strategy, right? But it got me sales. It grew my business. It made me a better communicator. But then when I started learning about human design and I recognized that, I started to cultivate my own voice, which wasn't just this person or just that person or just that person. It was a collection of all of them. And I knew that I was doing it. And so there were certain times when it's like mostly I speak with my voice, but when I want to make an impact, there's certain archetypes and adaptive strategies that I draw from because I know that person. It's like a how you say, like in music, you know, you get a sample of an artist from the 90s, 50s to like give your track a different kind of vibe. That's kind of what it's like. And it's the difference between selectively choosing them and just having them all in the project making a bunch of noise. So I have two sons with both have open and undefined ego centers. Yeah, okay. So they're going to be comparing themselves a lot to other kids. Like, understand too, like the world conditions us. It's not just your parents that condition you or people in your life. It's also the world and the pressures of the world. When they're in school, the school is going to condition them. It's going to be like, oh, Jimmy got an A. Why didn't you get an A, Bobby? You got a B or you got a C. Why is that? And it's like, oh, because I don't like what you're teaching and none of this is interesting and our school system is broken. Uh, sorry. But so one of the things that you can do for your sons who have open ego centers is remind them that their value is not about what they achieve. It's not about what they do for the world. And I'd love to know more information about them so I can finish that sentence, because according to human design, we can look at either their solar plexus or their sacral or their spleen. So it's not about what you do for the world and your desires. It's about the truth of what you feel. That's the emotion. And your ability to be patient with yourself. That's the emotions. It's about, you know, knowing what you have energy for. It's about knowing what you want to invest your creative energy into. That's the sacral. It's about listening to your intuition and listening to your internal immediate first response to something. That's the spleen, right? And if someone has ego authority, then it really is about, hey, it really is about what you do for the world. It really is about your desires and actualizing yourself as achievements in the world. The older one is 14 and seems not to care what people think. That's awesome. Yeah, and again, it's like the idea is that as we move closer and into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, that is that the children will have a lot less of a struggle with um what other people think of them, which for us millennials and the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and all that, it's like debilitating because we're all living our formative years 1 through 7 in the cross of planning. And the, you know, again, a lot of, and we're, the new generation is going to be living a lot of their life in the depths of the transition from planning to Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix. What is that? Oh. Pigs. Dang it. All right, guys, it's time for me to go. I gotta rally up some pigs. Sale is going to continue till the end of this day. So a $35 report is now a $20 report. And if you want to cash in, just go to my website, generate your body graph, get your report. I got to go wrangle up some of these pigs over here. Love you guys. I will see you next time. Monday, I go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you're not following, follow. We'll see you next time. I got to go get some pigs. Love you guys. Thanks for such an awesome live. Peace. Boop. Oh. Boop. Boop. Sorry, guys, on YouTube. I totally was not. I was totally not paying attention to you guys. But anyway, I love you, and I'll see you next time. And also, if there's any reports that didn't get generated, don't worry. I will email them to you. I got to go wrangle some pigs right now, though. Okay, bye.